Here I am on my journey. I hope you don't mind. I'm talking about books. I got a big lump. It's worse than it looks. Here I am on my journey. I hope. Michel de Montaigne. Where to begin? Well, I just finished playing a match of ranked deadlock on my PC, and I thought I'd share this tidbit with y'all. The philosopher David Hume, the first person to say, wait a second, we don't quite know what cause and effect are. We don't quite know that every time I do this, I'm doing this. Or it's a little hazy to say the least. I can't begin to go into Hume's philosophy. But that cause and effect, the importance of cause and effect. This man played a lot of chess. He played a lot of chess. He spent a lot of hours playing chess. So just this little fact is kind of like a little shield I use to, I can play deadlock, as if I needed a justification and a reminder that I can do what I want. Reminds me of my grandfather who passed away about 5 years ago now. Jeez. He'd say, hey, how's your day going? Oh, good. It's fine. I feel like I've wasted my time playing games. He said, were you having fun? Yeah. Dude. Yeah, then there's Schopenhauer, who says that we can learn something from chess. There's something we can learn from the game and apply into the real world. Anyway, Michel de Montaigne. I think of my professor. I like how I hope that I don't sound like someone who just is quoting, just using what other people have said, but once again, I find myself justifying myself because that's all we do. Any word I could say right now is something I picked up from someone else. Just like yesterday, I kept hearing, you know. I'm hearing it in the Penguin Show a lot. My grandma says it a lot. I was hearing it in some kind of interview with an old man. You know. That same professor I mentioned, Ravel. That I'm about to mention, sorry. Donald Ravel, in our poetry workshops when I was a grad student, he said one time, he's like, listen, I can come in here into this workshop. I don't have to prepare anything because I have everything I need is right here. It's right here in this book. I mean, let me look at it for a second and we'll be good to go. Reminds me of something else, believe it or not. A poem by George Herbert, the same man who said, the best revenge is a life well lived. Christian poet whose poetry was published posthumously. He wrote a poem called The Caller, where this guy is kind of having this internal debate and struggle, and he's asking God, like, I don't know what I'm going to say when I go out there. What am I going to do? I'm not prepared. I'm not worthy. And then he realizes, he puts the collar on, he goes out, and as soon as he steps forth, he's going to be fine. Me, I don't have my collar on. Sorry, don't vote for me. I have my Knuff shirt on. Montaigne, let's get to Montaigne, shall we? Montaigne is a Frenchman writing in the late 1500s into the early 1600s, a little before Shakespeare's time. And actually, there's some, not only do Montaigne and Shakespeare love the same authors, Plutarch especially, Montaigne's favorites, probably Plutarch, Shakespeare's top 3, Plutarch. But there's some hints in some of his essays, like on cannibalism, that Shakespeare might have caught a whiff of Montaigne, like some direct hits. that he uses in The Tempest. And if it's not a direct influence, then it's a zeitgeist ordeal. But yeah, let me just flip through this Montaigne, because one of his major things is that he loves a book that's digestible. He more and more as he gets older in life, he wants things that are just boom. Just tell me, give me the truth. Be concise, be clear and profound at the same time. If you can be clear and profound, it's such a rare combo. I tell my students, anytime I find them, it's pretty much my highest compliment. You can say something so directly and so hard hitting without taking up too much of my time. And I'm not going to stand up and I'm unprepared, but some of my earlier works that I published were just big, fat beasts. And I don't know, I just had to get it out of me. But more and more, I want to publish these short, digestible works. I don't know about this video. It's probably going to be pretty long. Sorry. But make sure to vote.
No.
So yeah,
I did not vote.
He's for digestibility. He pretty much, he's a great reader. He scours these ancient authors. He scours writers of all times, and then he writes. He's a nobleman, fairly well off, has got a lot of time. But yeah, his ability to kind of, I love these authors who have pretty much read so much, and they can condense the best of the best in this one book. So if you read Montaigne, if you're looking, hey man, I'm looking to catch up on the last 2,000 years. You know what you ought to do? You want to catch up on 2,000 years of literature. You ready? You ready? Montaigne, Schopenhauer, Proust. Hold it. I can do one more. Let me give you one more. Three's fine. Three. Montaigne, Schopenhauer, Proust. They're behemoths, but they'll pretty much catch you up on the last 2,000 years if you just give them a couple. One of his major things, Montaigne's major things, is living your life as it is a work of art. Somewhere here in the preface it says that, but I'm gonna try less and less to scour and find, because I know I'm apt to waste time that way when I can just talk about it. Live your life as it is a work of art. Yeah, there's a lot of maxims to live by in here. If you're for that, if you love a good motivational quote, this is prime for that. I find myself making this noise. Yeah, you know. I'm going to start here on the essay of the inequality. Oh yeah, sorry. It's split up into 3 books of miscellaneous essays, and let me just read the titles of some, like of pedantry. So on the pedant, on the person who says, actually, it's this, or the person who always corrects us on our words. Of friendship, that's a beautiful one. Almost cried on that one. And while I'm here, let me tell you that 2 times I can remember crying at a book, and then another time I cried. I cried today for the first time in a while when I asked my sister, can you send me pictures of Mom? I need some pictures of Mom, because I wanted to do a video on my mom where I showed you guys her texts, where she says, oh my God, you have a lump, oh my God. She was very concerned about me. And then she said, go get a second opinion. She thinks it might be cancer. She called my grandpa having cancer, blah, blah, blah.
No!
Yada, 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 as she says. But Monica sent me some pictures. I started tearing up because my mom looks so cute. And gosh, while I'm at it, this is so Montaigne of me. This is Montaigne at his finest. He'll have a paragraph and then he'll jump to another. About my mom. So I had this in my mind to make this video about my mom. I was in the shower. I didn't have any idea I was going to do this until I woke up to her text this morning on this fine Sunday. I hope you're having a blessed Sunday. And I'm thinking, how is this video going to go? And I'm thinking about starting it this way. And I wanted to kind of do a reminiscence or a cogitation on what my mom means to me. And then, of course, my mind went to it. I said, well, Schopenhauer says that we're made up of, that we take our character from our father and our intelligence from our mother. Okay, I kind of vibe with that. But Schopenhauer's grandson, or I like to call Schopenhauer Nietzsche's granddaddy. Anyway, Nietzsche says that all of our problems in life stem from the discord between our mother and our father. That I like a lot. I like that so much because when I think about my life, this is how I'm like my mom. I'm manic. I love in bursts. I tend to isolate / want to be on my own. I don't call. My mom never calls me. She texts. She'll hit me with some long texts. So I'll do that to friends too. You know who you are. Yeah, that's how I'm like my mom. Oh, and I guess I have an addictive personality. Call me Ishmael. But then there's my dad, who always wants someone around him. He calls, he works, he's out there, he loves to be around people. Not to say my mom doesn't, but there's definitely a difference. Yeah, I'm these two people in one. We'll have to excuse Tito. Tito, he's off camera. Tito, he's right below you actually, and he's currently he's in the woes and the throes of tracheal collapse. If you didn't know, he's also been mauled by a 4-year-old buff dog, bit on the jaw. He survived cancer, depression, obesity. Tito, our hearts go out to you. Yeah, that's my mom and my dad. Montaigne will do this. Montaigne will jump around. Montaigne loved his dad. Oh my God, did he love his dad? And actually, it might be worth scrolling through and going against what I just said. First of all, because that's so like Montaigne as well, to say, to not admit, to admit that he was wrong, or not even talk about that, just to move on and just capture both sides so much and so well. While I look for that, I can talk and scan at the same time. What? I'm a dirty little skimmer, didn't you know? Tito. I think also it is worth mentioning that Montaigne's ability to entertain both sides. Let me go to a direct quote now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quote Montaigne quoting Horace, but it's also translated, so it's like, but still, it's somehow to maintain this, the beautiful meaning of this passage, even though it was written 2,000 years ago, and then quoted 400 years ago, and then translated, and yet it maintains its beauty. Ooh, that's how you know it's good. It passes the translation test, as it were. Wise and master of himself, fearing not death or chains or lack of wealth, disdaining honors, firm against desire, within himself well-rounded and entire, beyond the reach of all external pain, against whom even fortune strikes in vain. Montaigne likes to overload us with these quotes. I have so many stars, so many underlines. I'm just going to go to the next one. I mortally hate to seem a flatterer. I mortally hate to seem a flatterer. And so I naturally drop into a dry, plain, blunt way of speaking, which, to anyone who does not know me otherwise, verges a little on the disdainful. To me, Nietzsche says that the poor reader picks as he chooses. And I'm very torn on this, because And I think Montaigne might disagree with him too, because who are you, Nietzsche? God, I love Nietzsche. To say, oh, that's how you should read. If what, I can't open a book, read 3 lines that speak to me, and be motivated and love that. And if I were to argue Nietzsche's point, he'd probably say something to the effect of what I argued the other day when I said, listen, there's something if you read for 2 hours straight, if you read Plato's Phaedrus, if you read Hamlet nonstop, back to back, you will literally, your body will feel it. Your body. If you can put up with the attention, you're going to. So there's something to that. But to hear Montaigne say, I mortally hate to seem a flatterer, I automatically relate. I'm like, I don't want to, I'm a little too nice. I don't want to, this is me in so many social conversations. Oh God, I don't want to, I don't want to just flatter you. I'm sorry. But I am with you. I love your energy. I'm matching your energy. I don't want you to think I'm just flattering you. In another place, he mentions an old king, quoting from Plutarch, this king who had a guest over for dinner and was always agreeing, the guest was always agreeing with him, and the king got pissed. He said, dude, please, just will you stop agreeing with me, for the love of God? Even the other day, my friend Levi said, you don't have to agree with me. In the middle of our conversation, him and I are the worst at that. We will amp each other up because we do agree with each other a lot on so many things. So it gets kind of dangerous. Literally just going, this is a sentence at the end of a paragraph 12 pages before on in another essay of solitude. The greatest thing in the world is to know how to belong to oneself. The classic Delphic oracle, know thyself. To be able to be by ourselves. Even I'm not doing that right now because no man is an island, and there's something about me wanting to express this and share this with you guys, to share what I know. Oh, now I'm getting, you know it's bad when I'm getting 2 references at once, because on one hand I want to do Horace right, do your mama right, when he says that something should be sweet and useful. Okay, reading is sweet and useful. I want to apply that to life. I want to do something that I enjoy and that also helps others. And along those same lines, there's a beautiful fairy tale by Oscar Wilde about this wise man who spends years of his life accumulating knowledge, accumulating wisdom, I should say, much better word. And then it turns out when he gives the wisdom away, he loses it, but in return, he gets love. So that's what I'm doing here. But to know ourselves, the greatest thing in the world is to know how to belong to oneself, to be alone. I had to do that before doing this. We got to be alone at times, for the love of God. Which reminds me too that recently I've been returning to the idea that we find God in solitude. Solitude, God. Okay, there's no one else. Who am I going to talk to? Well, either him or him, or I don't know, one of these people. But then I can go back, and then we can fluctuate. We can fluctuate. Certainly, a man of understanding has lost nothing if he has himself. That's a little too close to the last quote to meditate on it. Here's on friendship. In the friendship I speak, okay, so Montaigne, here's something great. Montaigne, I don't know if he taught me this or if I came to it and then he reminded me of it. He definitely hammered it home. And I say that because Schopenhauer is definitely taught me this. He said, the best thing to do is to come to the thought ourselves, and then when we see it affirmed in someone that we love, then it's like, oh my God, then you've sealed it. It's a magic seal has closed that wisdom. Instead of not knowing anything and then going straight to the book. What if I knew nothing and I just read Montaigne at 14 years old? Ooh. Or Schopenhauer at 14. Ooh. Or 16 or 17, 18. No, I didn't start getting serious into literature until I was like 22 or 23. So sorry, if you're not 22 or 23, please leave right now. I'm speaking to two people, actually, and you know who you are. Return in 6 more years, all right? No, you can listen to me, but don't read, okay? 6 more years. And don't take anything I say seriously. You need to figure these things out yourself. No, you can take a little bit and then run. Use me as a crutch, but then run away. I'm serious, though. Aristotle said the same, that young boys or girls should not start philosophy too early because, my God, you'll just get into prejudices. And how are you to form... You got to figure out yourself first before you hear someone else say it. Then again, I remember distinctly going to church one time, invited by a friend, and I like church when I go. However, this one time, I was torn on how to feel when someone, I don't know how to put this, the bird is chirping because he or she understands that this one's pretty difficult. To be born at, oh God, how am I going to do this? Let me take a step back. I was not born in a religious family. However, I now at 30 years old and even 8 years before this, I'm religious leaning. If you ask me religion or no, God or no, I'd say religion, God. I'm for this. But there's something, and I don't know, if you were born in a religious family, I don't know. Maybe that, okay, you know what? The buck stops here. Christ has stopped the buck. He has cut the knot. I can't argue with reason when it comes to him. So I'm just going to back out of that argument and say, when it comes to religion, at 0 years old, sure, go ahead. Back to friendship. Montaigne was the one who said, the fact that I saw how the string of my argument unraveled. He's the one who said that a true friendship is rarer than a true love. To me, this is so true. So rare to find a friend that you can tell everything to. I only have 3 max. And actually, I'm coming into my own. If you asked me this 2 years ago, I would have said 1. Maybe I'm up to 5 now. So you can thank my friends if you're enjoying this video, because there's a correlation between my output and their being. If, in the friendship I speak of, one could give to the other, it would be the one who received the benefit who would oblige his friend. For each of them seeking above all things to benefit the other, the one who provides the matter and the occasion is the liberal one, giving his friend the satisfaction of doing for him what he most wants to do. When the philosopher Diogenes was short of money, he used to say that he asked it back of his friends, not that he asked for it. And to show how this works in practice, I will tell another ancient example. I have nothing to say to that quote, so I'm moving to the next one. Still on friendship. Let not these other common friendships be placed in this rank. I have as much knowledge of them as another, and of the most perfect of their type, but I advise you not to confuse the rules of the two. You would make a mistake. You must walk in those other friendships, bridle in hand, with prudence and precaution. The knot is so well tied that there is no cause to mistrust it. Love him, Chilo used to say, as if you are to hate him some day. Hate him as if you are to love him. This precept, which is so abominable in this sovereign and masterful friendship, is healthy in the practice of ordinary and customary friendships, in regard to which we must use the remark that Aristotle often repeated, "Oh, my friends, there is no friend. Yeah, You have those friends where you still have to tread on water around them. That's an ordinary common friend and not a true friend. Like I said, mine are up to about 5 right now. If you think you have more than 5 premier friends, yeah, Montaigne in The Art of Life. Let business wait for tomorrow, he says. Of drunkenness. Of sleep. I like how his of sleep chapter is the shortest chapter ever, and he discusses how Alexander would go days without it. Then there's that one Greek who slept for years. Sleep is trying to reason sleep. I went through this. I've written it about all my books talk about sleep at one point. And my God, to try to reason out of sleep is, it's like my grandpa. I asked him, "Oh, why'd you get bad sleep?" Or what? He's like, "I don't know. I just got bad sleep." It's probably the best way to look at it. Still on friendship, the ancient Menander declared that man happy who had been able to meet even the shadow of a friend. He was certainly right to say so, especially if he spoke from experience. Yeah, to even meet the shadow of a friend, my God. Kind of like that's why I was crying with my mom about my mom today, just seeing her face, and man, just to have this mom. Talking about educating children. Ooh, I should do a whole special on this. To criticize my own faults in others seems to me no more inconsistent than to criticize, as I often do, others' faults in myself. Ooh. We must denounce them everywhere and leave them no place of refuge. Okay. Yeah, this idea of I'll criticize your faults and I'll criticize my faults as well. Let's just talk about the faults. Let's put you and I aside. I'm not coming after you. And things like this. Still, it is difficult to force natural propensities in the education of children. Whence it happens that, because we have failed to choose their road well, we often spend a lot of time and effort for nothing, training children for things in which they cannot get a foothold. At all events, in this difficulty, my advice is to guide them always to the best and most profitable things, and to pay little heed to those trivial conjectures and prognostications which we make from the actions of their childhood. Even Plato in his Republic seems to me to give them too much authority. Yeah, about learning Latin, I think Montaigne would agree with Schopenhauer here. Yeah, he does at some point. He says, learning these languages too young and a little too much. And then, of course, maybe... Wow, wait, what'd you say, Montaigne? Even Plato in the Republic seems to me to give them too much authority. And in the Republic, Plato said they should not even be exposed to any kind of art that is untrue. So, sorry, Mom. You showed me, Nightmare on Elm Street. Ooh, you showed me Child's Play and Friday the 13th. Mom, what'd you do to me? Ooh. I am living proof of insert however you want to interpret my mom raising me and it being right or wrong. My earliest dream was in black and white, and my sister and I were running from Freddy Krueger. I ran to the bedroom under the bed with my sister, and I put my sister Monica in front of me so Freddy Krueger would grab her. All I saw was Freddy's giant claw, I still see it to this day, reaching around my sister and pulling me instead. Talking about morality. Our tutors never stopped bawling into our ears as though they were pouring water into a funnel, and our task is only to repeat what has been told us. I should like the tutor to correct this practice, and right from the start, according to the capacity of the mind he has in hand, to begin putting it through its paces, making it taste things, choose them, and discern them by itself, sometimes clearing the way for him, sometimes letting him clear his own way. I don't want him to think and talk alone. I want him to listen to his pupils speaking in his turn. Socrates and later Arcesilaus first had their disciples speak, and then they spoke to them. And then Cicero says, the authority of those who teach is often an obstacle to those who want to learn. Yeah, this is pretty much how I take the approach to teaching. I don't repeat, 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 repeat. No, show me what you got. Let's model. Let's change from there. Yes. And notice how he quotes Cicero, he quotes Socrates, he quotes Arcelius. He can't go a sentence without quoting someone. That's how our brain works. Whether or not you know it, whatever you're doing, you're acting out what you surrounded yourself with. Who were the last 5 people you surrounded yourself with? Okay, that is how you're acting in this current situation. That's how you're interpreting my video. Whoever the last 5 people you spent your time with, whether it was thinking about them, being physically around them, that's literally how you're seeing me. Those 5 people combined. It's kind of why we really need to be careful.
What did you say?
Who we surround ourselves with. Okay, now he's talking about women there. We're going to skip that. He has some pretty strong opinions on that. This is good. Now he's talking about, he's going to, I'll just read it. After Thales had several times criticized people's concern with managing a household and getting rich, they reproached him, saying that he was doing so like the fox because he could not attain these things. The sour grapes fox. He decided, for fun, to test this out, and making his learning stoop for this once, to the service of profit and gain, he set up a traffic which within a year brought in such riches that hardly in their whole lifetime could the most experienced in that trade make as much. And just to show him, I could do this if you wanted. Hey guys, you got to make some money. Listen, man, when are you going to make some money? When are you going to buy a house, get a car? When are you going to, get some money, get a job, Come on, that's what it's about. It's more about that. Thales says, oh my God. Oh, you wanted to be about that? Okay, I'm going to stop learning for a year. I'll do it. He pulls in all these riches and he's like, I'm going to go back to learning, all right? That's on of pedantry. Freaking pedants. I have pedant tendencies.
What did you say?
Yeah, I think we can't notice. Proust taught me this. We can't notice. Sorry. We only notice the faults in others that we have in ourselves. So if you're noticing, man, that guy is blank. You have to have that capacity, or else you're not going to notice it. Okay, I hear you. You want to quote on woman? Likewise, the women get angry only so that we may get angry in turn, in imitation of the laws of love. That's an out of context text on women. Excuse me, forgive me. I hope I've captured Montaigne's essence. I don't know how much I want to go. This is unplanned. I sat down, I talked about it. But is there anything so sweet as that sudden change, when from extreme pain, by the voiding of my stone, I come to recover as if by lightning the beautiful light of health, so free and so full, as happens in our sudden and sharpest attacks of colic? My bump, is it going to feel so good when it's gone? Oh my God, I'm going to be able to fly. Is there anything in this pain we suffer that can be said to counterbalance the pleasure of such sudden improvement? How much more beautiful health seems to me after the illness, when they are so near and contiguous that I can recognize them in each other's presence in their proudest array, when they vie with each other as if to oppose each other squarely. Just as the Stoics say that vices are brought into the world usefully to give value to virtue and assist it, we can say with better reason and less bold conjecture that nature has lent us pain for the honor and service of pleasure and painlessness. A couple closing remarks. I recently in my classroom I put some of my favorite books on each desk, and I assigned students, and I handpicked readings for some students. You'll like this, you'll like this, you'll like this. And the thing that touched me most was a student came up to me half a paragraph into reading Epictetus, the Stoic, and he says, I don't agree with him here. And I'm just like, I'm torn because I don't want the student to agree. Sure, you can disagree, But it's so unlike how I've read all my favorite authors, these canonical authors. Every sentence in this book I trust and deem true. Every sentence is true to me. Now, that's at a first reading. That's how I go through all these books. I operate on trust. If I disagree, now maybe I'm showing myself to be a fool, gullible, and a non-thinker. But you got to start on trust. You got to. The Kant method is be dogmatic. Say it's got to be this. It's got to be this. Then be skeptical. Maybe not. Maybe not. And then you can go into the critical mode because you don't want to just be dogmatic. This is it. You don't really want to stop at being a skeptic because you're just like, you lead into melancholy. Shouts out Jaques from As You Like It. So you want to become a critic, a thinker, someone who's not those two things, maybe both those things at once. Anyway, I told the student, I said, listen, you can disagree. I kind of argued with him a little. I said, actually, he is right here, but disagree. But hey, if you disagree, just maybe go to the next one because it was a lot of fragments. Try to find something in there, man. Try to find something. Dang it. I completely forgot. One of my favorite moments at Montaigne, if I can't find it, it's okay, is maybe I'll find it and then I'll record it after. But there's a moment where he talks about handicapped women, and he goes through 3 types of handicapped women. What does he do? He does something freaky.
Oh.
There's something really freaky that he does in here, but I'll have to find that.
Oh.
I found it. Okay. He literally he gives 3 examples of, if you're actually a lame woman or a handicapped woman, I'll just read it. Apropos, no matter, they say in Italy as a common proverb, that he does not know Venus in her perfect sweetness who has not lain with a cripple. The lame man does it best, says the Scythian.
Touch the demon inside me.
And then he goes on. He gives reasons. But I have just learned that ancient philosophy no less has decided the question. It says that since the legs and thighs of lame women, because of their imperfection, do not receive the food that is their due, the result is that the genital parts which are above are fuller, better nourished, and more vigorous.
So the world might be mended.
So he's giving these reasons, right? Talk about trust. I'm just like, what? And then he hits you with this. Do not these examples confirm what I was saying at the beginning? That our reasons often anticipate the fact and extend their jurisdiction so infinitely that they exercise their judgment even in inanity and non-being? Not only is our invention flexible in forging reasons for all sorts of dreams, but our imagination is equally prone to receive impressions from the very unreliable appearances given by falsehood. For by the sole authority of the ancient and public use of that proverb, I once made myself believe that I had received more pleasure from a woman because she was not straight, and credited that to the account of her charms. Yeah, that's Montaigne. Can we trust our reason, and to what extent? Definitely more digestible than Immanuel Kant, who, if you're really trying to...
Touch the demon inside me. So the world might be mended.
See what the height of reason can attain. You should check him out, but I can't read Montaigne if you want. I hope you enjoyed. This is Sunny. He's an egg. And this is Chula. Cat.